What's going on YouTube? It's Giga here bringing you some more Series 9 Wi-Fi battles with live commentary. We are once again using this hyper-offensive team that focuses on weakness policy Thunderous with Sableye. Not with Sableye, with Ninetales to proc that. We also do have Spectrier and Sableye as another common lead, and finally Urshifu with Porygon 2 to kind of close things out. So looking at my opponent's team, we have a Tapu Lele with a Rillaboom, Urshifu, Regieleki, Cinderace, and Slurpuff. This is a little bit scary just due to the fact that I don't really have a good option for Tapu Lele other than maybe Sableye. But even then, like, it can do so much damage, and especially with Slurpuff to trigger the policy makes things a little bit hard. But I do really like Thunderous Ninetales as a lead. I think this is a good chance to get off the weakness policy and also deal with a lot of problematic things. I do like Porygon 2. I think it is a really big threat, and then probably Sableye. I think Sableye being able to resist Expanding Force might come in. Actually, oh no, it's Tapu Lele. Tapu Lele doesn't get Expanding Force. So the big fear right now is going to be that Tapu Lele with Slurpuff lead, just because of the fact that it applies so much pressure, which we are going to see coming out from my opponent. So the thing is, like, while you do get access to an Unburden boost, it does mean that you are potentially triggering Defiant on Thunderous. So that is definitely something that my opponent has to be a little bit cognizant of. As yeah, we do see that Psychic Surge come out, which will unfortunately proc the we do see the berries. So Slurpuff is fast, but like it can't just freely go for something like a String Shot. So I want to still Airstream the Lele and go for a Protect on Ninetales, with the idea that Lele is I'm expecting Lele to be Specs with using that Slurpuff for speed control. So the thing is, like, if we can live a hit from them with Thunderous, I feel like we should be able to pick up a knockout. Similarly, I mean, Slurpuff could be more offensive, but I feel like in this position it makes sense for it to be very sort of support oriented. So okay, so we are going to see a max from this Tapu Lele, which is a little bit scary just due to the fact that now it is going to be taking hits really well, but the question I think comes down to what is this Slurpuff going to do? And hopefully protecting will pay off in the long run. So let's see, we do get the protect off, and the question is, what are we going to see a String Shot from? Yeah, we do see String Shot, which while it does lower Thunderous's, I should have gone for Lightning over Airstream. That was silly because I'm still going to be slower, as we are going to see a Mindstorm come out into Ninetales, which is actually really convenient for us because Ninetales is going to tank that super well, as we are going to get a +1 Airstream into this Tapu Lele, which doesn't pick up the knockout, but I think maybe, I don't know, what I'm thinking is, do we go for a I think an Ice Shard can take out Tapu Lele from this range, right? I'm going to go for a Lightning onto the Slurpuff and an Ice Shard onto Lele. I think if we can pick up this knockout, we'll be in a really good... Oh, just kidding. There is Psychic Terrain. Oh, God. That was a really... Yeah, and I was talking about, like, you have to go for these attacks, and... Okay, so we are going to take the Mindstorm, so I don't expect Thunderous to live. There's probably no way, yeah. Thunderous is going to go down, but we do get rid of their Tapu Lele just as a result, and, right, they should go down to Hail this turn. Oh god, they don't go down to Hail. So that's really bad. We bring up Porygon. Yeah, I should have gone for the Lightning. At this point, I think we have to go for probably a Tri-Attack here, and let's go for a Blizzard. We don't have a lot of damage output as a result of losing Porygon, but yeah, we can. It's pretty easy to just go for the hit into Porygon too, and then we are faster. So that's actually because they didn't string shot into Ninetales. That's right. Okay, so that's actually really good because now we do have Ninetales with a lot of offensive pressure. As Slurpuff's not really going to do much, I ideally would have loved to pick up status onto it, but we don't get it. We do have this Porygon with -2 special defense, so I think we are going to have to unfortunately switch out, as we do see Urshifu come out, and it is going to be Urshifu Water. We do have 2 turns of Psychic Terrain left. I want to go for an attack onto Urshifu. Yeah, that's... Aurora Veil does matter if they go for a close combat. We are going to see a Dazzling Gleam come out, which, yeah, the crit is going to hurt a little bit as we do get up this Aurora Veil. And I think, yeah, if they go for a close combat onto... They do go for the close combat, so we are going to be able to hopefully tank this. We do tank it, and at this point, we should be able to pick up a knockout using a combination of Tri-Attack and the Hail. So this is max special attack. Oh my god. That was max special attack. What's it called? Max special attack Porygon 2. So, I want to switch out Porygon 2 into Sableye and just go for a Blizzard with Ninetales. And I'm hoping the fact that we have Aurora Veil up means that we can live another hit, and then we should be able to finish off from there. And then we do have, albeit low HP, but a 3v1. So we do have the Dazzling Gleam come out. Sableye, yeah, tanks that really well. Ninetales tanks that really well, and I'm hoping we can pick up a double knockout, which we get it. So huge props to Ninetales for that. We do now have Sableye as the terrain. The Hail is going to stop, as is the terrain. So this is good for us because we do now have access to priority attacks with Sableye, so we can go for things like a Quash as well as things like Will-O-Wisp. As we do see the last is Cinderace. So this is a little tricky. I could, foul play? I'm going to go for a foul play and a protect on Ninetales. I'm hoping that the damage output will... Okay, so we do see Iron Head, which is fine. You are going to target into Ninetales. That's great. We do get off a foul play, and that should almost pick up a knockout, which is great. And at this point, I think we can just safely go for that with a Blizzard, right? Yeah, because there's no... Yeah, I was going to say there's no really good way, and because you have to pick where if you don't target into Sableye, I can just bring out Porygon 2, and then it becomes this really tricky mind game, and I think there are ways that I could come back for it. So I'm glad we were able to pull it off. I think losing Thundurus so early made it really hard, but Ninetales having a lot of versatility and the fact that it can go for really big spread moves and also other things like became really crucial. And even if my opponent had played it out, going for something like a Will-O-Wisp with Sableye onto Cinderace to make it so it was taking residual burn and then like not able to deal enough damage as a combination of two things, and then I can similarly like go for the Quash and have Porygon hit it first. I think we were in a really good spot. But yeah, really solid game one. Let's hope we can keep it up and move right to the next one. All right, game number 2, and this is a really strong Sun team with Venusaur, Charizard, Rhyperior, Incineroar. You have Torkoal and Dusclops. So I really like Spectrier Sableye with the idea that we can go for things like Max Quake onto the Venusaur and use Quash really effectively depending on what they go for. Other than that, I think Urshifu is going to be huge here, being able to hit super effective into Charizard, Rhyperior, Incineroar, and Torkoal under obviously the right conditions. And then Thundurus, probably not so much. Maybe Ninetales again, because I do like being able to change the weather and really, I think, use Ninetales as support for Urshifu with the idea that like we want to max Spectrier, but we can then use Urshifu in the fact that Ninetales can change the weather to really make it so we can get big knockouts. Because I think if we can control the sun, I think we win this one because it gives us a lot of advantage with Urshifu, and anything that Urshifu cannot deal with, Spectrier can, and by that I mean Venusaur. So we are going to see, so we do see Rhyperior Dusclops. So my thought is I'm expecting this to be a Trick Room and Bulldoze weakness policy. So what I want to do is I want to actually... I don't think my opponent's going to expect Taunt from Dusclops, so I want to do that. And I want to just Will-O-Wisp into Rhyperior. So that way we can stop the Trick Room, because I think Trick Room is really going to hurt us in this situation. Which honestly, like, we do have priority with Aqua Jet and we do have Quash, so it's not super frightening, especially with Dusclops not applying really any sort of pressure, and we can kind of safely target into the special side. So we do see the switch out, as we do see Incineroar come out, which I think is a pretty big deal because of the fact that you don't have, you don't have fake out pressure onto either of these slots, as we do see the Rhyperior go for a Protect. So I think that's really smart right there. We do attempt to go for so we do get the Taunt into the Incineroar, as we also do pick up information that the Rhyperior went for a Protect. So we could just I think it might just be okay to go for... no, Phantasm... Actually, yeah, let's Phantasm into Rhyperior and go for a Will-O-Wisp onto it, because I think Urshifu in this endgame is so strong that we really want to set up for it. And if we can lower Rhyperior's defense, we should be good. And I don't really expect Incin to have a lot of damage into Spectrier, especially... I mean, its main move is probably going to be Flare Blitz. It might have Snarl, but I think even though we are maxing Spectrier, we're using Spectrier more as a support option in this case, because we also do have Ninetales, and like we do have a lot of pressure onto this Rhyperior, which I'm actually really worried about. We do connect the Will-O-Wisp, which is shocking to me that my opponent stayed in, which makes me think Lumberry. We don't see a Lumberry, and we do connect a big Max Phantasm. We do bring it down to a Focus Sash. Yeah, we do bring it down to a Focus Sash, but due to the burn, we are going to be able to pick up a knockout this turn, which is going to be a little bit unfortunate just due to the fact that we aren't going to get the Grimnay boost on Spectrier, as wow, we take, a crit. We do take a lot from Incineroar as a result, as, yep, Rhyperior is going to go down. We have gained some information. It is important to note that we cannot Quash into Incineroar as a result of it being a dark type, but we do have Helping Hand with Max Phantasm, as we are going to see Torkoal. So we can really safely, I think, go for a Max Phantasm into Torkoal. Max Phantasm or Max Quake? Let's go for Max Phantasm here, and then just go for a Helping Hand on a Spectrier, with the idea that, yeah, we can just nuke with a bunch of damage and then pivot out. If they pick up one knockout, pivot out the other one into Ninetales to get rid of the weather, and then just use Urshifu to kind of clean up, because I don't see how Dusclops can really do much. And yeah, Torkoal's not in the best position, neither is Incineroar. I think it just is going to be... Okay, so we do see a max, which at this point I am expecting it to be Incineroar, right? Everything is just indicating... Oh, okay, so they're going to max Torkoal, and they could max Guard. That actually is not a bad option, just to stop me from really... Okay, so no max Guard here. So we are going to be able to get a big max Phantasm off into this Torkoal, and I'm hoping for a knockout. Not a knockout, but we do get very close to the point where, honestly, like, what? We're gonna... Getting a double knockout would be great. It is just, I think, unfortunate that they live. We do see Darkest Lariat on the Incineroar, which is really good to know. But what? Ninetales, I think, at the range Torkoal is at, will get knocked out by a Blizzard. So we do see Sableye, unfortunately, go down. But yeah, given Torkoal's in the red, right, we can kind of safely go for, I think, even if no, because we need Blizzard to finish off Torkoal, and I know that Torkoal is actually pretty bulky, so it just is a little bit awkward. But we know that they can't do much with Dusclops. I'm gonna go for a Surging Strike into Incineroar, and then go for a Blizzard onto both, with the expectation, like, it should, right? Torkoal is so low, and I think I just continually underestimate what Ninetales can really do, despite the fact that it is kind of carrying me in these past two games. And it is going to play a really big role here. It got rid of the weather and really, like, provided a lot of support for Urshifu. So yeah, we are going to see, I think, the pretty obvious switch out from Incin to Dusclops, with the idea that you can go for a fake out the subsequent turn. You are going to see my Choice Band, which I think is important. We do, thank goodness, we do pick up the knockout onto the Torkoal. So now the big question is, are we going to pick up the knockout with this Surging Strikes? I think we should, right? Okay, so probably not. We're going to do a pretty reasonable chunk to Dusclops. We do get another Blizzard, most likely, and then it'll be what? Incineroar. It's a really low Incineroar that's going to have to take either a Blizzard or a Surging Strikes. And yes, Incineroar does resist. Oh, it actually is a lot healthier than I thought. But it has what? It has Darkest Lariat and Flare Blitz and Fake Out. It could be... I think we still go for Surging Strikes here and then go for a Blizzard. You know that I cannot protect with Urshifu. So the question is, we do see the Fake Out come out. Yep, into the Urshifu as expected. We do go for the Blizzard, and I'm expecting Dusclops to go for a Trick Room. Yeah. We do get a nice little critical hit, and Dusclops is going to set up that Trick Room. And I don't think, unfortunately, it's going to go down to a Blizzard. Okay, so I think, yeah, because of the fact that it goes down to Hail, I don't think Incineroar can pick up a knockout onto Urshifu with a single attack, and that means that we can safely go for a Surging Strikes as well as a Blizzard here, because, like I said, even if it knocks out the Urshifu, it's going to, take a lot of recoil, and then Ninetales can finish it off with two Blizzards and then an Ice Shard. So, once again, I think a really, really great job from this Ninetales. I was definitely, really hesitant about it, because I felt like it didn't really function well without Thundurus, and it kind of was just there to proc Thundurus's policy. But here, we really were able to set up a great endgame for Urshifu as a result of getting rid of the weather, because we wouldn't have been able to get nearly as much damage if Torkoal had been free just to max flare, and having big spread moves with the chance to freeze, I think, is also just a really big sort of deal. So yeah, glad we're doing well so far. And yeah, let's play one more and hope we can keep up the success. All right, last battle. We are looking at Landorus with Regieleki. We have a Grimmsnarl, Registeel, Spectrier, and Moltres. So I really like Thunderous Ninetales. The big... Actually... I kind of want to do Sableye Ninetales. The only reason for that is Ninetales can knock out unmaxed or not unmaxed Urshifu unmaxed Landorus, and I can't risk it. Like, the big fear is you go for a max Rockfall and then Blizzard becomes inaccurate. I think I have to bring Urshifu just due to the fact that there is that Registeel and then Thunderous. So the only question is, do I want to lead Thunderous? I don't really see a good... there's not really a reason to. Right? I think this 4 makes the most sense. And I think Sableye is actually going to be really important with Registeel. Because I actually don't know if they want to bring it. Because I have 2 ghosts, and it's like, oh, if your moves are Iron Defense, Body Press, Protect, and Amnesia, are you really going to try to bring that against a Sableye and a Spectrier? So I don't actually know, and I think that was one thing I probably should have considered a little bit more, but let's see. Yeah, the big fear is a Lecky Landorus, and it looks like my opponent is going to go with... Okay, so they went with a Lecky Spectrier, and so that's actually still really scary, just due to the fact that I don't actually do that much into Spectrier. So what I could do, I kind of want to set up Aurora Veil. I think we can go for an Aurora Veil and quash the Regieleki. Just because that way, like, I probably will have to take a hit from Spectrier, but I do want to... I mean, I'll still live because of the guarantee from the Sash. We do see a taunt come out into the Ninetales, so that's actually a really smart read by my opponent, because now I can't go for the Electroweb, as I do take a pretty big taunt right there. We are going to see the speed drop, and I think at this point, we don't have a good switch. I could actually switch out into Thunderous, because my idea is if you go for the Electroweb again, yeah. So let's bring out Thunderous here, and let's go for a foul play onto Spectrier. And I'm hoping that if they go for what's it called, another Electroweb, we will get the speed boost. And I'm hoping that they target into the Thunderous slot with Shadow Ball. We do see a Thunderbolt come out into Sableye. And Sableye holds on, which is great, as we do see, oh, they're going to double up into the Sableye slot, which I think is really smart. But it does mean that we can bring Thunderous in unopposed, but they do have the Grim Neigh boost. And I mean, that is really scary, like I said, if they do have Registeel in the back, and the fact that they can kind of set that up pretty freely. But I want to bring out Ninetales here. I could Ice Shard. Spectrier is scary. I think max Airstream into the Spectrier and go for... I honestly expect... I expect a Thunderbolt from Regieleki and a taunt from the Spectrier, trying to stop me from going for Aurora Veil. So what I'm hoping to do is I'm hoping to pick up a knockout this way, and then even at +1 speed, I still get outsped by Regieleki, so that doesn't really matter, but it means the speed drop will put me back to neutral. And I think my opponent is doing a really good job at preserving their max here, as we are going to see what probably, I'm expecting a Thunderbolt and a Taunt. We do see a Thunderbolt into Ninetales. So this is actually really good. Unfortunately, they are going to Will-O-Wisp into Thundurus, which is definitely going to be really scary, as we do pick up a very minimal damage max Airstream. But at this point, yeah, I think I want to proc my policy with Ninetales, and then that should be enough to pick up another KO onto the Spectrier. So we can, I think we still go for a max Airstream here and an Ice Shard onto Thundurus. Just hoping that they, because yeah, they're probably going to try and target into Ninetales at this point. And what I need is I need Thundurus to outspeed Alecki, because Alecki at this point is a big threat because of the fact that Urshifu can't really deal with it. I could try to create a scenario where just like its HP is low enough that an Aqua Jet can finish the job. We are going to be able to get off the the weakness policy boost, which is nice. We still have to deal with the fact that we do have a severely weakened Thundurus as a result of being burned, but we are going to be at +2 attack as we do pick up this big Airstream into the Spectrier, which luckily does pick up the KO. So now we're in a position where we do have Urshifu, which I think while banded can do a lot of damage. I don't know if we can, we can go for darkness onto Alecki. That's kind of what we have to go for. We have to go for a a darkness to knock out the Alecki, and then have Surging Strikes. Does Surging Strikes knock out Moltres? Yeah, we have to darkness. We have to darkness into Alecki and go for a Surging Strike into Moltres. I'm hoping banded will be enough, but I mean, my opponent can very easily my opponent should max Moltres here. If they don't, that should cost them the game. But I can't really see a reason for them not to max Moltres at this point. I have just a severely crippled Thundurus on my last turn of Dynamax, and an Urshifu that's not going to like a max Airstream, especially given the fact that I don't have a Focus Sash, and if I did, there's Hail. Yeah, I think my opponent really... Yeah, we're going to see the max here. My opponent really out-positioned me this whole set, and I think Alecki is something that this team really, really struggles with. It doesn't have any sort of really good built-in counter for it, and as a result, you are kind of always just playing around it. And this was one of those cases where trying to play around it with something like a Spectrier made it so by the time I was able to deal with it effectively, the game essentially was over. We are luckily going to at least... We know that Moltres can only pick up one knockout. We do get Surging Strike, which is going to do a decent amount. It is going to put it, unfortunately, into Berserk range. I'm hoping... Yeah, just barely, but it does put the Moltres into Berserk range. I do expect probably an Airstream into Urshifu. I can't really see... Interesting. We see a darkness... Oh, into Thundurus, that's why. Yep, Thundurus is going to go down. But we do know that we can we can pick up the knockout onto Moltres with Urshifu. So the question then is, what does my opponent have in the back? And depending on what it is, I think... Oh, the Hail stops. Okay, I would have liked one more turn. But, because what I'm thinking is, if it's something like Landorus... no, because there's no reason to... Okay, so it is Registeel. Registeel can just go for a Body Press. I think I just go for the attack into Moltres. They can very easily just Max guard. I think the play is just to max guard. We are going to see no max guard, which is an interesting call by my opponent. We should pick up the knockout, right? Oh god, is this going to be a range? Oh, rough. That's rough, buddy. Yep, and now this Airstream is going to finish us off. So I am actually really curious. I want to run the damage calc on... Yeah, let's just actually finish this match. Do they have bulk? I want to see if they have their team available. Show us the team. Yeah, okay. I want to see if they have bulk on their Moltres. We do see, yeah, that Regieleki just causes so many problems. Grimmsnarl, not what I want. Regieleki had max defense, so I don't actually think it would have done too much. Spectrier being fairly bulky was also kind of hard. With Will-O-Wisp, yeah, Taunt, Snarl, and Shadow Ball, I think the turn 1 Taunt was really good, and I think I should have just gone for Blizzard with the idea of, hey, I want to get damage up because then I can really set up as opposed to trying to make things bulky. And then, yeah, so we did have we did have some investment in HP on this Moltres. It was weakness policy. I don't think I can pick up the knockout, but I'm just curious on what the damage calc was for Registeel versus Urshifu, because I think even if I didn't pick it up on 1, maybe I could pick it up after 2 turns if their body press didn't KO me, but I feel like it definitely would. Like Urshifu, I always want to pretend Urshifu is bulkier than it is, so okay, my computer's super slow. We love that. The damage calc does not want to work. Okay, we got it to work. So Urshifu, yeah, so while this is loading, I think I do want to play one more day with this team. I always do really like just playing with teams that I build more, unless it's like a team that I'm super comfortable with. And I really have enjoyed this team a lot, as they are going to be 252, and do they have any what attacks do they have on Registeel? Body press, yeah, so it was the body press set. And if we look at the damage of, oh god, Surging Strikes with an item of Choice Band. Okay, so Surging Strikes would have only done 40%. Body Press would have done 40. So I would have taken 40, then done 40, then taken 40. So right? So the turn... Sorry, I'm doing math. So I would have knocked out the Moltres, then I would have been at 60% HP. Okay, so they still would have won. Actually, it was a roll. With Banded or Shifu, it would have been a roll onto Registeel. So definitely a little bit frustrating that they were able to live. But I mean, like, that is the way it works. Like, you are taking a roll, and that is just part of the game. But yeah, like I said, I really have enjoyed using this team so far. Please check it out. It's a lot of fun, and I think even in awkward positions, this team can really pull itself back. So yeah, I'll see all of you next time, and until then, I hope all of you are wonderful, and I'll see you then.